Hey, what's up? My name is Taclys, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do guns and gun customization of sorts. This isn't going to be going into super deep depth, but I will be showing you guys some cool stuff, how to make your own custom looking guns, even if you haven't bought any content packs. I will say, if you've bought the content packs, this makes life a lot easier, but you don't have to. So we have our character here, who looks pretty cool. I'm going to be doing a little showcase at the end of this video, showing off this world, because I think it's a pretty cool world that I've got going on. And here is our gun. It's nothing fancy. I made this completely with vanilla materials. Nothing in this model was purchased. Pick it up, and I can, well, the rays were purchased, but you can shoot this pretty awesomely. But here, let me restart this really quick. If you were to not have that gun, or if you were to have a different gun, you would have different attributes and a different projectile. Pretty cool, huh? Now this is going to be showing you a way that that you can customize the attributes of a gun farther than what you probably could. Because if you pull out a crossbow, like this, and you go into its combat shoot settings, you can change the basic settings here. Its damage, its lifetime, its speed, its limit, its frequency, and so on. But if you want to do anything past those, if you want bullet spread, if you want a different projectile, if you want a shotgun-like feel, you're going to have to do it yourself. You can't rely on that. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to build a couple of guns. I have one here right there. I'm going to delete it. Now, if you... excuse me. I'm still a little bit sick. That's why I haven't been making a tutorial recently. It's because I've been sick and my voice has been terrible. We have our crossbow here. Pretty simple. Comes with everyone's Project Spark game. And you'll notice that adding props to this is going to get kind of awkward because the shape is really strange. It's not gun-like. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Appearance and turn Visible off. That way, our player can still equip it, still shoot it, but you can't actually see it. Now, I've already built what I think is a decent-looking gun. So I'll show you how to do that. First, we're going to grab this... window well thing like this. This is going to be the butt of the gun. I have snap-on. If you don't know how to turn snap-on, press and hold down on the D-pad and it turns snap-on, so everything moves in nice 45-degree angles. Now we're going to shrink this down to its tiniest size. Place that. I'm going to move this away from the crossbow. We're actually going to build this away from the crossbow and then attach it and then move it onto the crossbow. Next, we're going to add the stock. We're going to do that with this pillar or beam or whatever they call it. Gonna rotate it like this, and to get it right where we want it, we are gonna have to turn snap off. And I want this lower on the gun because this is gonna be the stock, which is not the barrel. I don't know if you guys are familiar enough with guns in the real world to know the difference between all these, but the stock goes under the barrel. Now it's worth noting that even though these are wood, we can turn them gray to make them look a little bit more like metal, but they will still look like wood, even if you do turn them gray. But, you know, you can try, or you can just say that your gun is wood. Whatever works. Next, we're going to add the barrel. So, we have this beam. Let me turn snap back on. Rotate it this way, shrink it down, and then rotate it this way. There we go. Is that as small as it goes? That is as small as it goes. Huh. I thought I had it smaller than that. Whatever. I guess this one is going to be a long barreled. Man, I'm almost sure that my last model was smaller than this. Huh. Sometimes the scale in Project Spark gets a little messed up. Especially when you're copying items. Sometimes the maximum scale that your item can have can be a little wrong. But let's put that in and let's scale up our other props a little bit so it looks better. There we go. Now let's make this piece a very light gray so that there's some contrast. It'll almost look white. I happen to have the hazy sky on, which makes the whole world a little bit darker. Under normal skies, this will look a little bit better. So then we're going to go to multi-edit. We're going to grab these pieces, glue them together, and then we're going to go to attach. We're going to attach this to the crossbow. And then we're going to grab this model and move it onto the crossbow. Like this. There we go. Now, we want to make this prop not collidable. And that way it looks right, but it won't be interfering with the player as the player moves around. So, that looks pretty good. I could test and show you that, but it'd just be me picking up an interesting looking crossbow. Now let's say that you've invested some money into this game and that you want to make a gun that looks really good. Now, what you could do is you could just grab the cartoon SMG. And it does look good, I'm not gonna lie. It does look good. But I think we can do better. I honestly do think we can make a gun that looks better. So let's search Astro. This is gonna be under the assumption you've bought several of the Astro packs. Now this pistol is a wonderful base model to work with. It's a great pistol. You don't even need to make the visibility 0 to work with it. But this pistol's even better because it has a scope, and scopes are awesome. Now I'm going to leave the colors orange and gray because that's easy to work with. So we're going to place our pistol, and now we're going to go to the different pieces of the Astro building setup and grab the ones that look the best. Now I've done this before, and I do know this piece, when shrunk all the way down, when rotated around, looks like an excellent butt of a rifle. Like this. But I'm gonna put it right here. Because we're not building one big piece to attach to it, I'm gonna just directly attach this to here. And move it like so, except lower because we don't want it covering the scope. Can I shrink it any farther? Nope, that's as small as it goes. There we go. Let's make this non-collidable. So there's the butt of our sniper. And I am trying to go for a sniper look here. Which, you know, the scope kind of gives us that. Next, we're going to give it a barrel. There's a couple ways to do this, but the one that I found looks the best. We grab this junction pillar. One of my favorite things about the Astro Pack is how small you can make these props. It's wonderful. We're gonna, let's see, rotate it around like this. Now if you look at it, it's rotated so it's kind of, it's in this position. So the roundy side is upward. And then we're gonna place it. And because snipers have incredibly long barrels, we're gonna put 2 of these end to end. Now be sure that they look like they're actually end to end. It's easy for them to get off. We're gonna attach these 2 together. We're going to make their collidability off, and we're going to attach them to our base gun. And you see, in as simple as 3 parts, we have transformed our pistol. Oh, come on, line up right. Transformed our pistol into, get a little closer. There we go. Into an awesome looking sniper. Come on, work with me. There we go. See? Does that look pretty cool or what? Darn right, that looks pretty cool. And both of these are just as easy to pick up as the other. All you do is interact and you're holding them. Now granted, the game only has an animation to hold a pistol, so even though you just made a sniper, they will hold it with only one hand, which looks a little dorky, but I'm sure the world can work with it. Oh, looks like our balance on that pistol got a little strange, but we can still pick it up, and it fires, and that looks awesome. That looks like a great gun. This one, it also looks pretty good. It looks, honestly, that looks a little bit like a Borderlands shotgun. Now, when you fire it, it will make a twack, 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 twack sound, like the crossbow, but you get what you get. You can add sound effects to cover that up if you feel so inclined. Next, let's go into the brain of our player, because this is where we're going to be adding the wonderful code to make the guns function well. So let's go all the way here to the bottom. Gonna delete this code. This is just the normal third-person adventurer brain. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable that when the gun is at that variable, it'll be a numeric variable, then the firing type adjusts. So what we're going to do is when right trigger, and we're going to do several child lines of code. The first one is going to be for vibration, because if you have a gun shooting, you want vibration. Next, let's create a variable called gun type. And when gun type is equal to 0, so this is the default. This is whatever the player has default with no gun in hand. So what we can do here is we can have them, I don't know, this is up to you. If you don't want them shooting anything, leave this blank. Or don't even have this line of code. Just go to directly to the next line of code. What you could do is you could do, if they don't have a gun, maybe they throw a rock. Let's just do that. They throw rock. Let's grab a small rock. There we go. Terrifying, huh? And I put started to right here, so they have to press the trigger every time they want to throw a rock. Next, we're going to do, I'm going to copy and paste the variable. When gun type is equal to 1. Not a variable, 1. Now you're going to have to keep in mind which gun is getting which set of options. So you don't get the sniper variable onto the model that you want the shotgun. Let's do this, the one that looks like a sniper. We're actually going to treat it like an assault rifle. So what we're going to do is when it is equal to 1, we are going to shoot. And now let's pick our projectile. There's a lot of projectiles that you can use. Any of these projectile effects work well. What I'm going to do, because these come free, I've used them probably over a dozen times by now, just these sparks. The sparks are wonderful projectiles. So pick a spark, shoot spark, and now we're going to add bullet spread. This will make the bullets spread in a random yet predictable pattern, if you know what I mean. So what we're going to do is we're going to do shoot the spark in direction, random vector. Now if we left it at this, it really would shoot in all directions 360 degrees around us, including into the floor. Now we're going to shoot them in a cone pattern. And now we define the angle of it. So how big do we want this cone? If we were to put it at 1, it would be a very small bullet spread. If we put it at 6, there would be a ton of bullet spread. So we're going to put it at 2. That is a reasonable amount of bullet spread. And then we're going to do in direction. And if this was a first-person shooter, you would do camera forward, because that's the direction you want to be shooting. If you're going to do a third-person game, you want to do forward. That way the player can look away from the camera forward and still shoot in that direction, if that makes sense. Now we can add the rest of our options. So at speed, I usually put projectile speed at 50, which is maximum. Because if it's a projectile, it better be moving fast, or else it looks dumb. Then we can do launch frequency, and this is how many projectiles per second it launches. So if we put 1, that means 1 projectile per second. So it would be shoot, 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 which is a very, very slow rate of fire. For perspective, a slow-firing assault rifle in Call of Duty is 600 rounds per minute. That's a slow-firing assault rifle. That's 10 shots a second, if I'm doing my math right. So it's okay to step this up a little ways. So we're going to put this to 5. Now, don't overload Project Spark. Call of Duty is specifically designed to handle ridiculous quantities of gunfire. This is not Call of Duty. This is Project Spark. So be sure to keep the rate of fire reasonable. If the rate of fire is too high, you're going to start running into problems. But launch frequency 5, that always seems to work pretty well. Let's see. What else can we put? Without targeting, I would do this if you're going to be doing competitive multiplayer, because targeting really takes the effort out of it. But other than that, I think we're pretty good. Lifetime is if you want to, like a sniper shot, how it lasts a long time. We're not worrying about that right now. Oh, and with damage, this might be important. you can set the custom damage for each weapon. So, let's just set it to 10. That's a lot of damage for 5 shots per second. That's 50 damage per shot, or per second. So, that is the first gun type. Now let's do the second gun type. This is just a traditional gun type. There's nothing special about it. The second gun type, which I'm going to delete that and make this 2. This is going to be a shotgun, which is going to be very different. So what we're going to do, there's 2 ways that you could do this. We could put started 2 here and shoot. Or, if you want it to be a constant but very, very slow rate of fire, we could just change the... I'll get to that in a second. I'm just going to put started 2 for now. Started 2, shoot. Once again, I'm going to grab another spark. This one's going to be a red spark, though. I would advise that either you make all your projectiles the same, or you make all your projectiles different. Don't have some that are the same and some that are different. That's just my creative advice. We're going to be doing a little bit of the similar code. In direction, random vector, cone, angle. But what's going to be different here is rather than 2, we're going to put 7. Yeah, 7. Put 7 in direction forward. Forward. There we go. And then at speed. This time I'm going to slow this down a bit because it's a shotgun. Let's put that to 30. Still pretty fast. And if you wanted it so that if you held down the trigger, it would shoot every so often, then you could put launch frequency at 0.3, 0.35, 0.5. This means at 0.5, it would shoot 1 shot every 2 seconds. That is up to you, but we're going to remove that. And then with damage, let's just do 10 as well. But since it's a shotgun, we want the lifetime to be very short. So let's do 0.75. Now you may be wondering how this code in itself is a shotgun, and because it looks like it's firing only 1 shot. You are correct. We're going to copy and paste this several times. A traditional gun in a traditional game has 8 pellets. We're going to be going for, looks like we've got 5 pellets. Let's do 6 pellets. That way when you fire, it shoots a spray of bullets forward. Does that make sense? Now from here, this is where you can get creative. You can just keep adding more gun type equals 3, gun type equals 4, gun type equals 5, and just get creative with it. There's tons of options you can do here. But now we need to go back to our gun models. What's wonderful about this system is that this system works with multiplayer. Come on, save. So when we go to our guns, when we go to interact, it equip me, which is pretty traditional code. We're going to add 1 child line, and we're going to do it, and our variable, which was gun type, is equal to 1. There we go. I'm going to copy and paste that line of code, because that was the assault rifle. Put it down here. Put this gun type to equal 2. There we go. Now these gun types will change what the player's variable is, and it will change the way that this character shoots their guns, if that makes sense. You know, I told myself I'd be doing a short tutorial today since I'm still kind of sick, but that didn't happen. So if we just, see, we throw rocks. Nothing special or important. But let's grab this gun, and suddenly we have a assault rifle. Do you see? I'm not touching the joysticks. Well, let me adjust there so you can see it better. The spread there, that's a pretty workable spread. If we're going to go attack this wolf, wouldn't take all that much. Now let's go back and grab our shotty. Pick this up, and then when we press the trigger, it has a huge amount of spread to it, meaning that at its maximum range, this really isn't going to be doing much to these goblins. Well, the goblins are weak. But at close range, it flattens them. As a shoddy should. Shoddy should. So, yeah, this is how you make a shotgun. And I can press and hold the trigger as long as I want. And it won't fire again. But you can just flatten them at close range. So, I hope this tutorial was helpful. I know everyone loves guns. Hopefully this helps you in your future Project Spark games. This is obviously not going into ammo types or reloading or anything like that, because this is just how to make the guns function. If you guys want an ammo tutorial, that starts getting awfully complex, but it's completely doable. So, thank you guys for watching. I was going to show you a showcase on this world. I think I'll wait till another video because we're already pretty long. So, thanks for watching. I will see you guys later.